structure of acute inflammation. The objectives of this lecture are to know the 4 possible outcomes of acute inflammation and to learn the rules of various chemical mediators of acute inflammation. We start with the fate of acute inflammation. What are the fate of acute inflammation? Or what are the outcomes of acute inflammation? The outcomes of acute inflammation are affected or modified by the nature and intensity of injury, the site of tissue affected or involved, and by the host responsiveness to the injury. So, acute inflammation has one of the 4 outcomes. First, resolution. Second, suppuration. Third, organization and scarring, or healing by fibrosis. And 4, chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation may progress to chronic inflammation. We start with the first outcome of acute inflammation is resolution. Resolution is defined as complete restoration of inflamed tissue to normal structure and function. Means tissue after inflammation return to the normal structure and function. Resolution occurs when there is no or minimal tissue damage and in tissue that is capable of regenerating. The sequences of resolution are started by the following: lymphatic drainage of inflammatory exudate to the regional lymph node, then phagocytosis and clearance of cellular debris, necrotic tissue, and microorganisms by macrophages. So, in acute inflammation, neutrophils predominate in the tissue during the first 6 to 24 hours, causing destruction of cells and tissue by releasing of proteolytic enzymes. Neutrophils are short-lived. They die by apoptosis and disappear within 24 to 48 hours. And later on, they are replaced by macrophages, which appear after 24 to 48 hours. The macrophages survive longer than neutrophils, and they are more powerful scavenger cells in acute inflammation. Macrophages are responsible for the clearance of necrotic tissue and cellular debris. Okay, واضح طلاب؟ Then, regeneration of damaged cells is okay. Example of resolution is lobar pneumonia. Sorry. After resolution, the tissue returns to normal structure and function. Example of resolution that occurs in lobar pneumonia. Lobar pneumonia is acute bacterial infection with inflammation of one lobe of the lung. This is This is the microscopic or histologic features of lobar pneumonia, in which the alveolar spaces, this is alveolar spaces, and this are pulled by an inflammatory exudate, rich in neutrophils and fibrin. This is the network of fibrin, and this is neutrophils. The alveolar septa, this is the alveolar septa, are intact and containing dilated or congested blood vessels. Okay, واضح طلاب? This is picture of lobar pneumonia. After resolution, this picture, this is lung tissue return to normal structure and normal function after resolution of lobar pneumonia. The alveolar spaces, this is alveolar spaces, are cleared from the inflammatory exudate. There is no inflammatory exudate, and alveolar septa are intact, and there is no dilated or congested blood vessels. That means the lung tissue returned to the normal function and structure after resolution. اوكي، اكو اي سؤال استفسار طلاب؟ عندكم سؤال؟ The second outcome of acute inflammation is suppuration with pus formation. Sometimes acute inflammation is complicated by secondary bacterial infection, such as biogenic bacteria with pus formation, especially in cases without treatment. So there is a formation of pus, and the pus may be either diffuse in the tissue or localized in the tissue, forming abscess, or the pus spread on the surface of the skin as in a skin wound, or the pus collected in the serous cavity, forming a binding. This picture shows diffuse formation of pus in the tissue. This is abdominal cavity with diffuse yellowish layer. This is diffuse yellowish layer of pus covering the peritoneal surface. And there is diffuse involvement of peritoneum by the pus. This picture shows a localized collection of pus within the lung, with the formation of lung abscess as a complication of pneumonia. Patient has pneumonia without treatment. This will be complicated by secondary bacterial infection and leading to the formation of abscess by localized collection of pus. So this is a lung tissue, and this is abscess. This picture shows a collection of pus within the abdominal cavity or peritoneal cavity, causing empyema. So this is the picture of empyema within the peritoneal cavity. Okay, واضح؟ واضح؟ Suppuration chronic one, either diffuse or localized, or collection within the peritoneal or serous cavity. The third outcome of acute inflammation is organization and scarring, or healing by fibrosis, in which there is replacement of necrotic tissue by granulation tissue, which is a tissue of healing and formed by any growth of new blood vessels by a process of angiogenesis with fibroblast proliferation. Then granulation tissue matures into fibrous tissue with scar formation. Okay? Well, organization and scarring means replacement of necrotic tissue by granulation tissue. And the granulation tissue is a tissue of healing. It's formed by proliferation of new blood vessels by a process which is called angiogenesis and fibroblast proliferation. Granulation tissue then gradually convert or matures into fibrous tissue with formation of scar. Organization and scarring occurs in the following condition. Chronic inflammation. So, repair and healing in chronic inflammation is usually by fibrosis and scar formation, not by regeneration. Usually, healing and repair in chronic inflammation is by resolution, by organization and scarring with fibrosis and scar formation, and there is no regeneration in the chronic inflammation. When there is excessive tissue damage, repairs by fibrosis and scarring. When there is excessive fibrin deposition, so the replacement of fibrinous exudate is by fibrous tissue, which is called organization. As we discussed previously in fibrinous inflammation, excessive fibrin deposition causing incomplete removal of the fibrin, leading to the organization and fibrous adhesion of the serous membrane. And the last condition is non-regenerating tissue, such as neurons, cardiac muscle, and skeletal muscle. So, the repair or healing in the brain, heart, and skeletal muscle is by fibrosis and scar formation, because these tissues are non-regenerating tissue, and they cannot replace the dead cell by regeneration. Replacement by fibrous tissue only. The brain, heart, and skeletal muscle have no regenerative capacity to replace the dead or necrotic tissue or cells. And the fourth outcome of acute inflammation is a progression into a chronic inflammation. And acute inflammation may progress into chronic inflammation in the following condition: when there is persistence of the causative agent or infection, and the presence of the foreign body in the tissue. These conditions lead to the progression of acute inflammation into a chronic inflammation, persistence of the causative agent or infection, and the presence of the foreign body. So the foreign body almost always should be removed from the tissue because it predisposes to a chronic inflammation. طلاب أي question؟ أي سؤال؟ أي سلايد ما فاهمينه؟ نرجع عليه مرة ثانية. حتى نبدي موضوع جديد هو الكيميكال ميدياترز. واضح؟ We start a new subject of chemical mediators and highlight only some important mediators. So we start chemical mediators and highlight only some of the more important chemical mediators. The chemical mediators are substances which play a role in the inflammatory reactions. They are responsible for the main component of acute inflammation. As we said previously, chemical mediators are responsible for the main components of acute inflammation, such as first, vasodilation, second, increased vascular permeability, third, immigration of white BC as a chemotactic agent, and fourth, humoral response. Humoral response means it's the sign and symptom of inflammation or the systemic effect of the inflammation. All these components of acute inflammation are induced by chemical mediators or are caused by chemical mediators. We come to the types of chemical mediators. Chemical mediators may be produced locally by cells at the site of inflammation, or may be derived from circulating inactive plasma protein, which are synthesized by the liver and then circulate in the plasma as inactive protein. Then they are activated at the site of inflammation. So there are two types of chemical mediators. First, plasma-derived chemical mediators, or called plasma proteins or plasma proteases. They are synthesized by the liver, circulate inactive proteins in the plasma, and they are activated at the site of inflammation. Second, cell-derived mediators, which are produced locally by the cells at the site of inflammation. We start with plasma protein-derived mediators. You know, in the plasma, there are 4 interrelated plasma systems, which are present as inactive proteins in the plasma. These interrelated plasma systems are Kinin system, complement system, clotting system, and the fibrinolytic systems. But the activation of these 4 systems produce inflammatory chemical mediators, or called plasma proteases, or called circulating plasma proteins. All these 4 systems are activated by initial activation of a clotting factor 12, which is called Hagman factor. Haveman factor is a protein synthesized by the liver and circulate in the plasma as inactive protein. So the activation of Haveman factor initiates activation of 4 plasma systems. How does Haveman factor activate? Activation of Haveman factor occurs by contact of plasma and exudate because Haveman factor present in the plasma. The contact of plasma and exudate with negative charge surfaces such as collagen, basement membrane, bacterial lipopolysaccharide, foreign body, and proteolytic enzymes. All these structures are present at the site of inflammation, and they carry a negative charge. When plasma reach the site of the inflammation, contact with these structures lead to the activation of Haveman factor, which is a clotting factor 12, and then start activation of all 4 plasma systems. مفهوم؟ طلاب؟ اكو سؤال؟ اكو اي سؤال استفسار؟ فعندنا بالنسبه للبلازما عندنا 4 interrelated plasma system، 4 سيستم موجوده على شكل بروتينز ومتداخله مع بعضها بالاكتيفيشن، متداخله مع بعضها، وهي هذه السيستم موجوده على شكل بروتين، inactive بروتين in البلازما، كل سيستم له بروتينات الخاصه بالبلازما inactive. Nuclear activation for these 4 systems lead to the formation of inflammatory chemical mediators. The activation of these systems starts by activation of Haveman factor, which is the clotting factor 12, which is occurred by contact of these Haveman factor in the plasma with negative charge surfaces or negative charge structure. We start with the activation of Kinin system. The end result of activation of Kinin system lead to the formation of bradykinin. Bradykinin is chemical mediator, which is a potent factor, causes first increased vascular permeability, second vasodilation, third bronchospasm, and fourth death. The bradykinin are responsible for these actions in acute inflammation. Okay. The second plasma system is a complement system. Complement system consists of 20 cascade proteins that play an important role in the immunity and inflammation. You know, the complement component has functions in the immunity and inflammation. The activation of these complement components lead to the formation of chemical mediators. Complement components are present as inactive protein in the plasma, numbered from C1 to C9. C means complement component. So they are present in the plasma in active forms, and activation of these complement component by 2 pathways, which is classical pathway and alternative pathway. راح تاخذوها هذه بالنسبة في الإميونولوجي فرع الميكروبيولوجي. ف complement component present inactive proteins in the plasma. Activation of complement component lead to the first formation of membrane attack complex consisting from C5b to C9. Membrane attack complex causes cytolysis, means lysis of the microbes or bacteria by attack the cell membrane of bacteria or microbe. So it is called membrane attack complex. يعني يهجم على الcell membrane and causing destruction of the cell membrane of the bacteria or microbe, causing lysis or cytolysis. Second, C3A and C5A. The letter A means active complement component. A means active complement component. Both of them, C3A and C5A, are anaphylatoxins, which play a role in the anaphylaxis. They causing increased vascular permeability and vasodilation by inducing mast cell to release histamine. C3A and C5A induce the mast cell to release histamine. And histamine causes increased vascular permeability and vasodilation. Third, C5A is a potent chemotaxin for leukocyte or potent chemotactic agent for the leukocyte, as we previously mentioned. And for C3b and IC3b, the letter I means inactive. Both of them act as opsonins and help in the phagocytosis. So this is the end result of activation of complement system, which is the formation of membrane attack complex, C3A and C5A, and C3b and IC3b. Each of them has specific action as a chemical reactant. The activation of clotting and the fibrinolytic systems occurs together. Activation of clotting and fibrinolytic system occurs together. Fibrinolytic system activation converts plasminogen in the plasma, which is a protein in the plasma, into plasmin by action of plasminogen activator. Plasminogen activator convert in the plasma plasminogen into plasmin. A clotting system activation lead to the formation of thrombin, which converting the soluble fibrinogen into insoluble fibrin clot. So, insoluble fibrin clot is converted into fibrin split products, which is called fibrinopeptides by action of plasmin. The end result is formation of fibrinopeptides or fibrin split products, which are cause first increased vascular permeability, vasodilation, and chemotaxis. So the end result of activation of the clotting and fibrinolytic system is the formation of fibrinopeptides, which are chemical mediators, causes increased vascular permeability, vasodilation, and chemotaxis. أكو أي سؤال؟ We come to the cell-derived mediators, which are produced locally at the site of inflammation. These cell-derived mediators are produced locally at the site of inflammation by inflammatory cells such as neutrophils, macrophages, mast cells, endothelial cells, and other type of cells. Let's start with first vasoactive amines, which are histamine and serotonin. They are produced by mast cell, basophils, and platelets, and they cause vasodilation and increase vascular permeability. As we previously mentioned, histamine is responsible for immediate transient vascular response or vascular leak and increased vascular permeability, which is cause contraction of endothelial cells in the venules, producing intercellular gas. Okay, this is vasoactive amines. Second, prostaglandins and leukotrienes. Which are arachidonic acid metabolites. Sources of prostaglandin and leukotrienes are mast cells and leukocytes. They are secreted by mast cell and leukocyte at the site of inflammation and play a role in the inflammation and hemostasis. So, prostaglandin cause vasodilation, pain, and fever. Thromboxane A2, thromboxane A2. This is cause vasoconstriction. So it is held in hemostasis during the bleeding or hemorrhage. Cause vasoconstriction, constriction of the blood vessel to stop bleeding or hemorrhage. Leukotrienes, C4, D4, and E4. They are responsible for increased vascular permeability. They cause increased vascular permeability. Leukotriene B4 causes chemotaxis and leukocyte adhesion. Okay? So, the anti-inflammatory effects of aspirin and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs inhibit prostaglandin production and relieving the pain and fever, which are caused by prostaglandin. As we said, prostaglandin causes pain and fever. Aspirin and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs inhibit the prostaglandin production and relieving the pain and fever. Third, a platelet activating factor. It is produced by mast cell, platelet, and leukocyte. And it causes first vasodilation. Second, increased vascular permeability. Third, leukocyte adhesion. Fourth, chemotaxis. And fifth, platelet activation. These are platelet activating factor, which is chemical mediator, causes the following features in acute inflammation. Fourth, cytokines. Cytokines are produced by lymphocytes and macrophages, and they include interleukins, such as interleukin 1 and interleukin 6, play an important role in the acute inflammation. Tumor necrosis factor, or TNF. Chemokines, or interleukin 8. If you remember, this is cause chemotaxis. And interferon gamma. It is more important in chronic inflammation. Interferon gamma more important or play an important role in the chronic inflammation. The functions of interleukin 1 and the tumor necrosis factor are, first, activation of endothelial cells, activation of fibroblasts, and induce systemic acute phase reaction, means sign and symptom of acute inflammation, such as fever, lethargy, weakness, leukocytosis, and other signs and symptoms, all called systemic effect of acute inflammation. They are caused by interleukin 1 and tumor necrosis factor. And chemokines, such as interleukin 8, is chemotaxis, is a chemotactic agent, play a role in the chemotaxis or chemo-attracting agent. Okay, this is the function of cytokines, which are interleukin 1 and tumor necrosis factor in acute inflammation. The fifth chemical mediator is nitric oxide. Is produced by endothelial cells and macrophages, which is soluble free radical gas, causes vasodilation, tissue damage, and microbial killing in phagocytosis, as you remember. So this is nitric oxide. Six, oxygen-free radicals are called also reactive oxygen species. They are produced by leukocytes, especially neutrophils and macrophages. And these oxygen-free radicals are reactive oxygen species are superoxide, hydrogen dioxide, superoxide, and hydroxyl radical. They are responsible for microbial killing, tissue damage, and increased vascular permeability. So, they are the more important function of oxygen-free radicals are microbial killing and tissue damage. So they are very, very destructive agents, may cause tissue injury. Fortunately, various proteins or protective antioxidants are present in the serum and tissue to prevent the toxicity of these oxygen metabolites or reactive oxygen species or oxygen free radicals, the same. These protective antioxidants are glutathione peroxidase, catalase, and transferrin, which are protect the cell of the body and the tissue from the destructive action of oxygen free radicals or reactive oxygen species. And the last chemical mediators is lysosomal enzymes of leukocytes, which are produced by or secreted by neutrophils and macrophages. These lysosomal enzymes are released from the neutrophils and macrophages during phagocytosis and after the cell death. Which are including elastase, cause destruction of elastic tissue, collagenase, causes destruction of collagen, and the myeloperoxidase. Also, these lysosomal enzymes are responsible for microbial killing and tissue damage. So, the harmful effect or damaging effect, the harmful effect or damaging effect of these lysosomal enzymes that has the main functions are microbial killing and tissue damage. These the harmful effect or damaging effect are controlled by presence of anti-proteases in the serum and in the tissue, such as alpha-1 antitrypsin. The alpha-1 antitrypsin, it is anti-proteases present in the serum and the tissue and prevent or control the harmful effect of lysosomal enzyme and prevent its damaging effect. So, deficiency of these inhibitors resulting in tissue damage. The deficiency of alpha-1 antitrypsin resulting in tissue damage, such as alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency in the lung can cause tissue damage, which is called emphysema. Okay, so this is the lysosomal enzymes. The main function, microbial killing and tissue damage. And in the tissue or in the serum, there are antiproteases. Prevent the harmful effect of these lysosomal enzymes, such as alpha-1 antitrypsin. So deficiency of alpha-1 antitrypsin, example in the lung, can cause tissue damage, pulmonary damage to the lung tissue or pulmonary tissue, resulting in the disease called emphysema, انتفاخ الرئة. So we come to the end of this lecture, which is the summary of chemical mediators. The summary of chemical mediator, that what are we talking about the chemical mediators? Vasodilation is caused by histamine, prostaglandins, nitric oxide, lactate activating factor, and bradykinin. Increased vascular permeability is caused by histamine, serotonin, C3A, C5A, bradykinin, leukotrienes, C4D4 and E4, and the platelet activating factor. Leukocyte activation and chemotaxis are caused by tumor necrosis factor, interleukin 1, C3A, C5A, leukotriene B4, chemokines such as interleukin A, and bacterial products. Fever is caused by interleukin 1, tumor necrosis factor, and prostaglandins. Pain is caused by prostaglandins and bradykinin. And the last, tissue damage is caused by lysosomal enzyme, nitric oxide, and oxygen-free radicals or reactive oxygen species. Thank you very much for your listening. Is there any question? Any question؟ أي سؤال؟ أي استفسار؟ أي سلايد ما فاهمينه؟ ها طلاب. عندكم أي سؤال؟ أي سؤال عندكم واضح؟ ما عندكم سؤال؟ واضح عندكم؟